We show you registered as Meg Bakich on behalf of yourself, and you'll be testifying for the bill. Is that correct?
I am for the bill, but Representative Patterson, I've been here fighting in education for the past 10 years, and I became awake in education because of books. I live in Highland Park. I have 5 children, and in 2013, we had a really contentious book battle and we resolved it locally, kind of. What we did was we rewrote EFA local policy where it had to go through parents. I could give you long details about it. But the truth of the matter is there is no removing this. When in the state of Texas, we have TASA's vision, which is the shift away from education, away from an education of equal opportunity, academic equal opportunity, to one of equity. And the shift, in the transformation of education, we had the new Visioning Public Institute here in the state, and it was a whole visioning institute that TASA pushed, and it's coming through all of our superintendents. And the end goal of TASA's vision is anytime, anywhere, digital learning. And all of this that your bill protects, I like your bill, it doesn't go far enough, because what you're trying to protect students from is in every instructional material that's online. And this is why we cannot have a curriculum that's online, this high quality, instructional materials that's online, the science of reading that's online. Because when you put all of this material online, then it removes all parents' due process. So with a book, the beauty of a book is I, as a parent, can see the book. I can hear my child reading it if it's out loud, or I can see it in the house. But what's coming in on the computer, I, as a parent, have no clue. And when you look at what's happening, for instance, in the MAP testing, which they talked about, which I think Morath would like to be a state assessment, that's owned by the NWEA, which is pushing everything that everyone's been reading here, and it's embedded in these instructional materials. The other thing is the CASEL, the Collaborative for Academic and Social Emotional Learning, which is basically the foundation of all instructional material. And in that, the CEO, Karen Niemi, stated that the goal is to create social justice activists through social emotional learning. So everything that your bill is trying to protect students from is already coming in through the digital materials. And I can speak about this because I'm listening to people say, oh, a year and a half ago, I learned this was happening, or 2 years ago. This has been happening since TASA's vision came into our state. In 2011, when my district adopted it, and then in 2013, there was an entire shift. So my question is, what are you guys going to do to protect our students online? I mean, Representative Harrison, you keep saying, well, should taxpayers have to pay for their children to read this pornography? Well, my question is, should taxpayers have to pay for digital materials that have that pornography in it? Because that's what because that's what's happening. So that's my question. How are you going to protect us? And how are you going to protect my tax dollars? Because what's happening is we're spending millions of dollars on these digital instructional materials that's being pushed from the TEA. And I, as a parent and as a taxpayer, have no voice in what's coming into the schools and how to protect my children. So what's your solution for that? Because I'm for your bill, but it's not enough. It's not protecting our students from the instructional materials that, from the character strong, purposeful people, that's SEL.
Okay, hold up. You're over your time here.
Okay.
Let's hold up. Members, are there any questions for the witness?
I would just make a statement real quick. Yeah, just to be clear, I oppose taxpayers being forced to fund obscenity for minors, and that obscenity ending up in public schools or disseminated however it's disseminated.
Well, do you oppose it for CRT and DEI, and do you oppose our tax dollars being spent there?
I very much appreciate your testimony, but I think I'm good on questions.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
We'll show you registered as Alice Linahan on behalf of yourself, and you'll be testifying for the bill. Is that correct?
Correct, and I am Vice President of Women on the Wall. I believe it's in there as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Again, my name is Alice Linahan. I'm Vice President of Women on the Wall, and more importantly, I'm a mother of 3 children who went through the public school system. And as Meg Bakich said, there's been a shift in education. I saw it with my own children, how my oldest was educated compared to how my youngest was educated. The future of our country lies in our children. If they're riddled with sexually transmitted diseases and all sorts of emotional and psychological scars given to them by these library books, instructional materials, online virtual learning curriculum, and our children are exposed to this in their classrooms, have we as adults done everything that we can to provide a safe environment for them to get a quality education so that they have an equal opportunity at success in life? As stated before, there's an agenda at play. There's huge funding behind this fundamental transformation of education in America. Books in the library is just one tactic in a much larger agenda. Until we can hold the Library Association, TEA-TASB-TASA, and the Education Service Centers accountable for the bringing in of instructional materials into our classrooms, books into our classrooms that are developmentally inappropriate and harming our children. This is not an issue about equity and LGBTQ. This is about our children being given instructional materials and books, access to information that is developmentally inappropriate, and it is harming our kids. There is a suicide rate increase, but you can directly tie it back to TASA's vision and this fundamental shift away from reading, writing, math, and history to attitudes, values, beliefs, and behaviors. Then it just becomes a question of whose attitudes, values, beliefs, and behaviors. And through these different departments in our education system, anyone with an agenda, whether it's an agenda I agree with or not, doesn't matter. Anyone with an agenda now has access to our children to fundamentally transform their attitudes, values, beliefs, and behaviors. And as a parent and a future grandparent, I will not be silent. I will not stop speaking up against all of this. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Members, are there any questions for this witness? All right. Thank you very much for being here.